Hi, Keith Myers here. Hopefully some of you have seen my videos from my previous project that I called Wing Chun Boxing, Iron Fist Wing Chun Boxing, where I was trying to show some of the Pin Sun Wing Chun I had learned in the context of boxing and how I changed from the Wing Chun engine or power base to a boxing power base, and how I was still using a lot of the Pin Sun Wing Chun techniques. So that was still a Wing Chun heavy version of boxing. Well, my new project is looking at, let's turn boxing itself into a viable martial art. Boxing is a great art, you know, up until probably about 1950. Because 1950 is when judo was first introduced in the United States and where Asian martial arts kind of became a thing, a fascination. Prior to that point, if somebody wanted to send their sons out to learn manliness and how to defend themselves, they sent them to a boxing gym. Boxing was known as the science of self-defense. It was not seen as just a ring sport. It was seen as a way for a man to defend himself, the manly art of boxing, you know, put your dukes up. That was part of American ethos. So they went to a gym to learn self-defense, and that self-defense was boxing, not judo, not taekwondo, not kung fu. Well, 1950s roll around, suddenly you got Asian martial arts making an appearance. That became the new thing and all fascinating. And so now when people think of training in self-defense, they think of going to the local judo school, taekwondo school, Brazilian jiu-jitsu school. Boxing is no longer seen as being a method of self-defense. It's seen almost solely as a ring sport. And you walk into a typical boxing gym today, and it seems like the expectation, if you're going to train seriously, that means you're going to fight. You're going to compete either in the amateur ranks or you're working towards the professional ranks. And there's really no backing it off and doing it for just the fun of it in a lot of places. Okay, so you notice I'm not in a boxing gym. I've never been a big boxer, but I really have admired boxing and think it deserves a lot in its own right, and not just to be seen as a ring sport. So we start with a boxing base, and as I look around, I decided that the best boxing base to work from was the Customado style, often called Peekaboo Boxing. And this is because in the Customado style everything is very compact. It's an infighting method. You get in close to the opponent. My background is in Wing Chun and a little bit of Southern Praying Mantis, which were both compact infighting methods. So this really appeals to me, and let me tell you why. Compact, nice tight guard, relatively square position, just like Wing Chun or Praying Mantis. You get in close, it's an infighting system, and a lot of good defenses. Very nice. Square on, compact guard, very mobile, fast punches, kind of appeals to me as a Wing Chun guy. Okay? So I'm calling this Peekaboo Martial Boxing because boxing is the base. That's where we start. That's what anybody learning it, they're going to learn basic Peekaboo Boxing first, like they were in Customado's gym, hopefully. Never been there. And then onto that base, then you start grafting things to make it more martial artist, right? For instance, you know, a martial art usually kicks. So we're going to work on some low kicks. And not Muay Thai kicks, which are big, energetic kicks, but just basic low kicks, more from Muay Chaya or Pananjakman, Filipino martial arts, than from Taekwondo or Muay Thai. And because I kind of approach it, I think, you know, in his prime, if Mike Tyson was going to kick, how would Mike Tyson kick? And that's kind of how I think of it. These low-line kicks, it's almost like swinging a baseball bat. Very, very practical, I hope. All right, so the next phase, you can punch, you can kick. We need some hand techniques. Now, just like in boxing, the primary defense for Peekaboo Martial Boxing is going to be evasiveness and mobility. I want to get in there and hit the guy with a barrage of punches, put him on the defense. I don't want to be standing back, waiting for him to punch and blocking things. A tit for tat, I block this, I block that, I block that. This does not work very well in a real fight. So, baseline defense is good footwork and good head movement and evasiveness. Okay? And you can go a long ways with that alone. Okay? Then when we start adding some supplemental hand techniques, that'll be a second line defense. And then we can start doing things that look like pak sows and bu sows and bong sao-ish type motions and things that will look more martial arty. That will come. Okay? Now, both Wing Chun and Southern Mantis have a chi sao phase. Right? A A chisao phase relies on forming a bridge. I'm doing something, I cross forearms with the other guy, I've formed a bridge, and that's where sticky hands, chisao skills kick in. Well, over a decade now, maybe getting close to 20 years ago, 15 years ago, guys like Matt Thornton and Burton Richardson, the Jeet Kune Do guys, came to the conclusion that that trapping range, that chisao range, just doesn't happen in a real fight. People almost always go from punching, striking, and if the shit hits the fan, they're getting close, they have to cover up, they start to grab. So you go from punching range to a clinching range almost immediately. There's very little in between where I formed a bridge with somebody and suddenly I'm going to do a nice Pong Sao trap, Pak Sao trap his arm, hit, hit, hit. It just doesn't happen in a real fight. And that's why when you see Wing Chun guys spar, it doesn't look much like Wing Chun, because that's where all the Wing Chun action is. And that just doesn't happen much in a real exchange. So, what does happen is the clinch. So what we will work on is all kinds of methods from the clinch, because that will be Peekaboo Martial Boxing's version of chisao, right? Is being able to tie up somebody, you're in a clinch, and then be able to control that person's balance, to keep them off balance and put them in a vulnerable position so you can hit. And there's a version of Filipino wrestling called dumog, which has a lot of these positions, grabbing the guy's arm, yanking him around, grabbing him in a single collar tie or double hand like a plume in Thai boxing, back over here to back to the arm, and just ragdolling the guy around and keeping him off balance, and then in the opportune moment, you land those punches. That's the kind of thing we'll work on in place of chisao. And then of course everybody knows that at some point a fight was going to go to the ground. Somebody's going to fall down or get tripped or get thrown. So we'll probably include just some basic sweeps and hip throws, which incidentally were part of original bare knuckle boxing way back before the Marcus and Queensberry rules. And then we'll work on a little basic ground and pound. We don't have to be Brazilian jiu-jitsu experts, but knowing how to maintain a position and hit somebody on the ground and get out of things is going to be valuable in street fighting as well. So that's the direction we're going. I hope people will be interested and want to follow.